I'm glad.
Let me tell you, you are lucky.
You probably saved my job.
Well, you can thank me with some chocolate or something.
I'll send some over.
Rebecca Romney was a book lover. It even showed in her roles on Pawn Stars. She was calm, brilliant, and trusted by Rick Harrison himself. But in 2014, tragedy struck when a stolen book worth $40,000 showed up on the show. It was not just any book, and before long, the FBI got involved. Like everyone guessed, Rebecca became the prime suspect. 1 year later, Rebecca was gone. Now, 10 years after her disappearance, we have the untold truth about what happened to Rebecca from Pawn Stars. Join us in this video as we unravel the thrilling details. Rebecca's disappearance from Pawn Stars. By late 2014, a rumor began circulating that Rebecca Romney had been questioned by federal agents. According to the whispers, they wanted to know how stolen historical books could end up on national television without anyone noticing. It wasn't a far-fetched concern. Rare book thefts were already a known issue. In 2015, the FBI returned stolen books to the National Library of Sweden, and back in 2005 to 2006, they arrested Forbes Smiley for stealing millions of dollars worth of rare maps. Rebecca was never accused of any wrongdoing, but some say the questioning shook her. She had built a reputation on sharp judgment and trust. Now, suddenly, people were questioning that very expertise. Then came January 10, 2015. Rebecca appeared in what would quietly become her final Pawn Stars episode. She appraised a pirate book from 1734, valued it at $1,000, and Rick, true to form, haggled it down to $400. And just like that, she was gone. After 4 years and 19 episodes, there was no goodbye, no on-air announcement, no explanation from the History Channel. Fans noticed immediately. Forums filled with questions. Was she fired? Did it have something to do with the rumored scandal? Others whispered that she had left because of a personal tragedy. Nobody knew for sure. Some fans blamed her disappearance on growing criticism of the show itself, accusations of staged deals, exaggerated appraisals, and behind-the-scenes drama. But then people noticed something strange. Even though Rebecca had vanished from Pawn Stars, she never removed the show from her LinkedIn. To this day, she still lists herself as the show's rare book expert from 2011 to present. Some say it's just clever branding. Others believe it's tied to a non-disclosure agreement that prevents her from explaining her exit. Whatever the reason, her name remains connected to a show she hasn't appeared on regularly in years. In 2016, she packed up and moved to Philadelphia. Officially, it was a promotion. She left the Las Vegas gallery and became senior director at Bauman Rare Books, overseeing library acquisitions and catalog projects. Later, she worked in Brooklyn, then eventually settled in Washington, D.C., where she co-founded a new rare book company. So yes, there was a reasonable career explanation for her departure. But the timing still made people raise their eyebrows. Was it really just career growth, or was something else happening behind closed doors? Why did Rebecca disappear from Pawn Stars? Keep watching to find out. The untold truth about Rebecca's disappearance from Pawn Stars. Then in 2022, fans finally saw her again. In a special episode of Pawn Stars Do America, she rejoined the team in Washington, D.C., and appraised another pirate book. Her chemistry with everyone was exactly the same. She teased Chumlee. She joked with Corey. She looked completely at home, which only made her long disappearance feel even stranger. In 2016, Rebecca also married someone who shared her passion for books, J.P. Romney, a historian and author. And what made their story even more unexpected was J.P.'s family connection to one of the most recognizable names in American politics. He's distantly related to Mitt Romney, the 2012 presidential candidate who won nearly half of the nation's votes. Through her marriage, Rebecca found herself loosely connected to a political dynasty that included former Michigan Governor George Romney, who served from 1963 to 1969. But despite the family ties, she has never met Mitt Romney. The connection was real, but distant, more a name than a relationship. At the time, her fame from Pawn Stars was still fresh. Between 2011 and 2015, she had appeared on the show multiple times, even appraising a rare 1507 map valued at $1 million. But by 2023, her marriage had ended. JP was now her ex-husband, and fans began speculating whether politics had ever played a role in her journey. Rebecca, however, insisted that her career in rare books had always been entirely her own. The year after her marriage, she and JP surprised the literary world with a co-written book, Printer's Error, Irreverent Stories from Book History, published on March 14, 2017. It wasn't just a light read. Across 368 pages, the book uncovered strange and forgotten moments from printing history, forged copies of Galileo's work, Charles Dickens's 1840s battles over copyright, and even the mysterious Gutenberg Bible of 1455, which never actually mentioned Gutenberg by name. Only 48 copies of that Bible survive today, each valued at tens of millions. The book combined Rebecca's real-world expertise with JP's storytelling skills, and it worked. Critics praised it, sales were strong, and it gave her a rare accomplishment, a respected voice in the literary and historical community beyond reality TV. Despite public curiosity about her marriage and its political connections, Rebecca has drawn a firm line. She almost never speaks about the Romney name. In a 2023 interview, she made it clear that she's never even met Mitt. The distance, both personal and professional, couldn't be clearer. She has 2 children, though their names and ages remain private. How did Pawn Stars become so famous? Was it because of Rebecca? Keep watching to find out. Early life of Rebecca Romney. Rebecca Romney was born on April 6, 1985, in sunny Phoenix, Arizona. Her passions were languages, ideas, and deep conversations. She dreamed of becoming a philosopher or a translator, not someone who would one day authenticate million-dollar texts. At 18, she went off to college expecting a quiet academic life. By 22, she had mastered 5.5 languages: English, French, Japanese, Latin, Ancient Greek, and even a bit of Old English. She pushed herself relentlessly, studying up to 12 hours a day. For one exam, she translated an ancient Greek papyrus from 300 BC, and aced it. Her professors were stunned. That same skill set would later help her spot forgeries that might have cost collectors fortunes. Between 2003 and 2007, she studied philosophy and classical studies at Brigham Young University. While her classmates picked safe majors, Rebecca was debating free will in 4-hour seminars and unraveling ancient texts in their original languages. She loaded up on extra courses, kept a perfect GPA, graduated with honors, was for a rare book specialist, a job she knew absolutely nothing about. She almost turned around and walked out. Instead, she stayed, told them the truth, and admitted she had 0 experience. Somehow, she got the job anyway. Her deep knowledge of languages caught their attention, and that was all they needed. Within just a few months, Rebecca found herself handling books worth more than most houses: a Shakespeare First Folio from 1623, a page from the Gutenberg Bible, and first editions of Newton's Principia Mathematica. Did the shop make a tidy profit? But Chumley also walked away with his job intact. One tiny signature turned a near disaster into one of his rare victories. Another time, someone walked into the shop with what they claimed were Revolutionary War bonds, documents they believed were worth a fortune. But once Rebecca took a closer look, the truth turned out to be much stranger. These weren't revolutionary at all, they were Confederate, and not just rare. They were missing. These bonds had disappeared after the Civil War ended in 1865. They were tied to stolen Southern assets that had been loaded onto the USS Republic, a ship that sank in a hurricane that same year. When the wreck was discovered in 2003, divers recovered some of its corroded contents by 2005. These bonds were part of that lost history, potentially worth around $50,000. But they also came with serious legal complications. Selling stolen artifacts, even ones lost for more than a century, could drag the shop into court. The police got involved, and Rebecca's careful research kept the pawn shop from making a deal that might have turned into a legal nightmare. It was a reminder that history doesn't always arrive without consequences. Then there was the day someone came in thinking they'd struck gold, a Shakespeare First Folio from 1623. Authentic copies of that book have sold for millions. One even went for $9.98 million in 2020. The seller's copy looked convincing at first glance. But once Rebecca examined it, the problems became obvious. The paper hadn't aged properly. The ink looked too clean. And it lacked the tiny imperfections that real 400-year-old books always show. She suspected it was a fake, possibly modeled after the infamous false folio of 1619, a misleading collection assembled by William Jaggard and Thomas Pavier. Even those are valuable, but this copy wasn't close. If Rick had bought it, the shop could have lost thousands. Rebecca's sharp eye likely prevented one of the most expensive mistakes in Pawn Stars history. Did Rebecca only reveal fakes? What other good could her skill bring? Let's find out. The pawn that changed everything. Sometimes, the items brought into the shop were completely authentic and incredibly powerful. That's exactly what happened when someone walked in with a first edition of On the Origin of Species by Charles Darwin. Published on November 24, 1859, the book sold out on its very first day. Only 250 copies were printed. Rebecca didn't need long to confirm what she was holding. The green cloth binding, the diagrams, and even the advertisements dated June 1859, all the signs were right. She knew instantly that it was real. Her valuation, $75,000. Darwin's book changed the world. Its impact on science and religion was unlike anything before it. Not even Copernicus or Newton caused a shock this big. Some first editions, especially copies with Darwin's handwritten notes, have sold for over $500,000. Later printings aren't nearly as valuable. For example, the 1862 edition, where Darwin removed his odd whalebear anecdote, is worth around $9,500. But that first printing? It was the one that rewrote history. And the copy sitting in the pawn shop was the kind of treasure collectors spend a lifetime hoping to find. Between 2011 and 2015, Rebecca became a fan favorite. One of her most talked about moments was when she evaluated a first edition of Frankenstein. The book was worth $20,000, and the fan reaction was just as big. Online forums lit up. People started calling her the book whisperer, and she quickly gained tens of thousands of followers. Fans begged producers to give her more screen time, some even asked for a spin-off series centered around her expertise. But behind the scenes, things weren't as perfect as they looked. In 2014, an episode aired that quietly sparked one of the strangest and most unsettling rumors in Pawn Stars history. A man came into the gold and silver pawn shop claiming he had a rare 1841 edition of the Book of Mormon. Rebecca examined it carefully and estimated its value at $40,000. But the seller wanted $100,000. After some negotiating, Rick Harrison managed to buy the book for just $24,000. On the surface, it looked like another solid deal for the shop. But soon, things began to fall apart. Rumors started spreading that the book had actually been stolen from the Marriott Library at the University of Utah. Not long after the episode aired, whispers online claimed that federal agents stepped in. According to these stories, the FBI seized the book and left the pawn shop empty-handed. There was never an official statement, and no public charges were filed, but the rumor kept growing, fueled by Reddit threads, blog posts, and YouTube videos. What about Pawn Stars? Does it connect to Rebecca's disappearance? Keep watching to find out. The Pawn Stars show. Pawn Stars is an American reality TV series aired on History and produced by Left Field Pictures. Filmed in Las Vegas, Nevada, it follows the daily operations of the world-famous gold and silver pawn shop, a 24-hour family business opened in 1989. The shop was originally run by patriarch Richard Old Man Harrison, his son Rick Harrison, Rick's son Corey Big Hoss Harrison, and Corey's childhood friend Austin Chumley Russell. Debuting on July 19, 2009, the show quickly became history's highest-rated series and the second most-watched reality show on television, behind Jersey Shore. The series focuses on the staff interacting with customers, buying, selling, and pawning artifacts,